So all good things must come to an end. We've seen the greats go out on their own terms, and some, well, be escorted out by Father Time. And now with Savannah James starting the countdown for her husband, the quote-unquote chosen one, aka the king, LeBron James, it might be safe to say that his 23rd season could and most likely will be his last. And it likely should be. Now, I dug into my prognostication last year and said that it would be his last season because of him bearing the Olympic flag, winning gold, and the manufactured Olympic MVP, all at age 39. Getting to play a season with his oldest son as an NBA player, feel however you want on that, and then racking up 50K points to further separate himself from the pack. That would be the perfect swan song to a solid career. I was wrong. And it seems like the Laker faithful are starting to get a little antsy on the will he or won't he scenario that keeps coming up as every season since he joined winds down. Now, I'm not here to say that LeBron's Laker run is or was a failure. He did bring them a championship. Yeah, we'll call it that. And the first NBA Cup in 2024 season. But besides that, I'm not sure that run is anything to brag about. Him and his Laker team didn't even make the playoffs in 2 of his 7 seasons there. They were first-round exits in 3 of his 7 seasons there, and was packed up and thrown out by Nikola Jokic's Denver Nuggets in a punishing sweep in the Western Conference Finals in 2023. So I feel like this is the time. With LeBron opting into a $52.6 million payday for this season and then informing the Lakers that he'll be monitoring their free agency over the summer, the writing is on the wall. LeBron James will be walking away from the NBA soon. And I don't think this is a crazy wild hot take, but more of an actual fact. So with that said, what can we expect from this farewell tour? I can see it fleshing out 2 ways and 2 ways only. And I'm going to tell you why. But first, if you enjoy NBA breakdowns and analysis, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We would love for you guys to help us continue to grow our community. And even more so, by hitting the like button, you help us stay in the algorithm and reach more and more NBA fans. And I thank each and every one of you for your continued support. Also, if you enjoy podcasts and debates, please subscribe to our podcast channel over at the GOATcast podcast, where you get a wide variety of personalities and basketball talk. So with that said, let's get into this. LeBron James has had a monumental NBA career. Despite if you're a fan of his or not, he's forged a path in the NBA very few can mirror. With that said, it's high time we step aside and let the youth take over and build the next wave of superstars and elites. With the monumental trade that shook the NBA world earlier this year, he has a prime opportunity to do this in what should be his final season. Luka Doncic is a once-in-a-lifetime talent that somehow landed in the Lakers' lap through a blockbuster trade, and while it didn't quite lead to championship aspirations, it showed that the Lakers realized they have to shift their focus to the youth and eventually let LeBron fade into the sunset. We saw glimpses of what a Luka and LeBron tandem could be, but with LeBron winding down, they need to pass the keys to Luka and let him be him. Alongside LeBron, especially if this is dubbed his farewell tour, I feel we are getting little tidbits that signal it is. Luka is going to have to allow LeBron to be LeBron, especially in big markets where the focus will be on his ending rather than the beginning of a Laker resurgence. The Lakers, much more of a business, especially now with their $10 billion sale, along with the other major markets, will realize an announced farewell tour will be mega dollars. Winning and rings will take a back seat to glorifying a legend of the game and milking every cent from us fans, wanting to say we got to see James before he packs his bags. We would get to witness, basically. So while it would be a semi-passing of the torch, it wouldn't and couldn't be a full torch pass because LeBron would need to get his numbers and get the spotlight. With that said, would Luka want to waste a prime season playing his game while defaulting to LeBron for stretches to help facilitate the send-off? I believe he could be enticed by it as he is up for an extension in August worth $228 million. If that is signed, sealed, and delivered, this will likely be the way LeBron's final season in the NBA plays out. With an extremely tough Western Conference, it's hard to see the Lakers with such little movement other than DeAndre Ayton making waves in the conference. It would take close to a miracle for the Lakers to be realistically penciled in for Larry O'Brien, but anything can happen. Either way, LeBron could create a narrative, which he loves to do. As him passing the Lakers off to Luka, as Dirk also passed the Mavs to Luka. This would solidify LeBron as a player ready to hang him up, but not without making sure the future is in good hands. It also means he doesn't have to find a suitor for Bronny or make him have to be packaged with him if the second scenario happens, which is. We've seen the quote from Rich Paul. LeBron wants to contend for a championship in his potentially final season. The Lakers are not the team to do that with, as currently constructed. Of course, a lot can happen between now and May. It's hard to see this Lakers team contending with some of these guys. So what would be the absolute perfect swan song? LeBron returning to the land, his home. We've heard the speculation. It seems there's very little interest from Cleveland or any other contenders out there, but never say never when it comes to LeBron, the almighty narratives that have shaped his career. Remember, no one in a million years thought he would get Luka Doncic on the silver platter last season. Cleveland has been a team on the rise for the last couple of seasons, but after each ascension, it seems that they are just not quite ready, possibly missing one piece. Could that be an extremely seasoned 41-year-old LeBron James? I'm not saying it is, but just imagine the fanfare if they could pull a trade off, likely sending odd man out Jared Allen and involving a couple of teams to make salaries match. This would be a storybook-style ending. As I said earlier, the Western Conference is stacked to the brim. Whoever makes it out of that dogfight next season could be worse for wear as they crawl into the finals. On the flip side, the Eastern Conference is weak. With Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum out for most of the season, the Bucks giving up Damian Lillard and hoping for a solo job by Giannis, Orlando being now a factor, but one that is extremely flawed as a true contender. One simple move to add a caliber player like LeBron could shift the team to the promised land. Not just the Cavs, which makes the most sense. We know that LeBron is big time as far as NBA tells us. And what bigger market to end his time on the court than the New York Knicks? Shout out to friend of the channel, King Speaks Row, one of the most passionate Knicks fans in these YouTube streets. I know he would be dead set against this, but as I said, anything can happen when it comes to the quote-unquote king. Imagine LeBron in the Big Apple, for better or worse, with top wing defenders like OG and Mikal Bridges, with a scrappy guard and closer like Jalen Brunson. I could see them muscling themselves into an NBA Finals, which is long overdue for them. Of course, LeBron would have to waive his no-trade clause, and teams would have to come up with a scenario to match that $52.6 million salary he'll be making in 2026. So, as I said, anything can happen, but that scenario seems very, very unlikely for some of these contending teams. But I digress. I don't see any team sacrificing their future for a LeBron farewell tour, especially any of the contenders, whether East or West. I think for a potential tour, LA is the perfect setting as he gets to wave to the star-studded crowd every night at home, further boosting his ego and legend on his way out. Either way, I believe one of these two scenarios will play out this season, and we will watch LeBron take his final bow as we embark on the next gen of the NBA, nearly fully removed of the early 2000s. But what do you all think? Which scenario, in your opinion, seems more likely as we head into 2026 and LeBron's 23rd season? Let me know in the comment section below. So if you got this far, please subscribe to the channel for much more content in the near future, as well as hit that like button. It's the only way the channel stays in the good graces of the algorithm, and we would greatly appreciate your help to do that. Thank you, and be back soon with more.